Hi Floss fans, it's Ella here from Spectrum Stitcher. Please enjoy this video recapping my fabulous experience at the Dark Mojo retreat, which was held in Hobart this weekend just gone, and co-hosted by Kerrilyn at A Stitch in Time Hobart, the fabulous bricks and mortar as well as online needlework store, and Joanna of MojoStitches, the fabulous cross-stitch designer. I hope you enjoy this little recap. Please bear with me. I didn't take my tripod and things like that, so the footage isn't amazing, but I hope you enjoy nonetheless. And I hope that those who haven't been to a retreat before find this video informative, so that they know the vibe of a retreat and what to bring along and such things like that. The take home from this is, if you have an opportunity to go to a retreat, grab it with both hands. You'll have a ball. I'm packing to go to my very first cross-stitch retreat, and I'm so happy that I've signed up. I'm very excited to make new friends and to just spend a weekend indulging in the hobby that I so love. I'm also very nervous. I haven't been on a plane since I think about 2016, and I'm not scared of flying, but the procedures of airports and things stresses me out a bit. So I think I'll be very happy once I get there. Apparently it's going to be very cold. In the Australian context, very cold. I think, 5 degrees, 7 degrees during the day. That doesn't really help with travelling light. But anyway, I thought I'd make a really quick video just to show you what stitching that I have packed. I bought this handy dandy roll. I'm ashamed to say I've not been as thrifty and crafty as Catherine and Victoria from Neat and Knot by the Sea, who made their own rolls. In the process of packing for this trip, I've realised that my stash and whips and cross-stitch corner has got completely out of control. For example, I couldn't find the threads to go with one of my works in progress that I have. So when I get back, I'm going to have to reorganise. I think I've been in denial about it for a while. But anyway, the point being that I could do with a few rolls like this and might turn my hand to making one at some point. But I picked this one up at Spotlight for the weekend because I just thought it was a very secure and convenient way of transporting my cross-stitch supplies. So I'll open it up and show you what I'm taking with me to the retreat. I'll probably being a bit ambitious. Everyone says from retreats, their experience of retreats, that they don't do much stitching and they just do a lot of chatting. So I've packed a few projects just so that I can stitch what I want when I want, so that I have some variety. I'm not expecting that I will actually get progress on all or any of these. So anyway, I'll open it up and show you. Work in progress number 1 that I want to take. There's the back of it. Not very coordinated filming and doing this at the same time, so please forgive me for bad camera skills. But because this was a MojoStitches, or Joanna from MojoStitches is the visiting designer at this retreat, I thought I'd better bring along my MojoStitches whip. This is Bushland Quaker. And when I opened it, I was like, oh yeah, I love this one. I haven't stitched on it in a while. I'm stitching it on some number 12 Stitch Co 18 count Ada, I think in salted caramel, with the called for threads, which I got a thread pack from Joanna at MojoStitches on her Etsy shop. It's got some lovely cottage garden threads, the beautiful Australian brand. So there you have it. The other reason I packed this is because I've got the paper pattern for it, and the other things that I've packed, I'll be using my PDF patterns, and I just thought, okay, what if I'm not close to a PowerPoint or I run out of power? I don't think that's going to happen, but I just thought it was good to have a paper pattern option in my back pocket, so to speak. So that's whip number 1. This one's all wrinkled because it's been bunched up into the grime guard of a Q-snap. Sort of belatedly realised that I'm not a big fan of Q-snap stitching. So I think I'm going to persist stitching in hand with this. This is Arcadia from Satsuma Street. The main reason that I've stalled on this is because I don't like stitching with the DMC metallics. I don't think my stitches look very good. But the reason I've got it back out again is because it's my son's birthday in July. I thought maybe if I push myself I can get it done. We'll see. Please forgive my sniffing. Promise I'm negative on the COVID test. I just had a shower and that tends to get my sinuses a bit sniffly. But anyway, this is Satsuma Street's Arcadia. Okay, what else have I got here? Oh, by the way, I'm stitching this on 14 count black Ada with the called for DMC. Then my final one, this was a new start and I started it thinking that it would be a very good retreat stitching. So at the moment it doesn't look like a lot, just a big blue box. But this is Primavera by Satsuma Street. It's the beginnings of it, and I just thought because it's a grid that would be very good retreat stitching. So I did attempt to mark out where the other borders would go. I miscounted. The actual box itself is correct, and then there's one more line of stitching, like another row that goes in the center. So I'm just going to do that and then recount and do the grid again. So this was a smart idea that just didn't work out because my counting was off. But it's 113 by 113, so it was a bit tricky to keep track of. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to be stitching this in the called for DMC. So sorry I'm not getting out patterns and threads right now. They're all sort of packed away and my laptop's packed and things like that with the PDFs. But yeah, they're the 3 projects I'm taking. And yeah, I'll try to take a few snippets of the retreat to put into this video and report back on how much fun I've had and the friendships I've made and probably the very little stitching I've done. And there will be some haul because, you know, I like supporting A Stitch in Time Hobart. Kerrilyn's got a wonderful shop there, and you know, going to your first retreat's a pretty good opportunity to get some treats. So I will report back with all of that. But wish me luck. Here I go. I'll check in with you soon. Okay, bye. Train to Melbourne, and then I'll go to the airport after that. Good morning, Floss fans. This is Ella, the Just Woken Up edition. And I'm in my Airbnb in beautiful Sandy Bay, Hobart. And I've made myself a little coffee and I'm preparing to have my first ever day at a cross-stitch retreat. As it turns out, I have a beautiful view, which I will try to capture for you in a moment. Although I took some photos and it just did not do it justice. It's just there's this huge window next to me. It's this panoramic view of the water. It's cold here, but my room was very nice. Electric blanket, very snuggly. I'm sitting on a Chesterfield couch. And I love Chesterfields. I'm not sure if you can see. Look at that, so cool. And I made it here without much incident. I hadn't been on a flight in a long time. I think I said in one of my previous clips. As it turned out, my cousin was also flying down to Tassie this weekend for Dark Mofo and to visit her partner. And so we were on the same flight, and it just made me feel so much better knowing that she was there. The flying bit was fun. As I think I've said in other clips, it's the procedures in airports that really get to me. And I was a bit nervous about declaring the fact that I had those scissors with me to the security people. Unfortunately, they were confiscated. I read the regulations. I thought they were going to be fine because they were blunt tipped. The blades were less than 6 centimetres long. But no luck. And it was interesting because the security guard was quite affronted. I said, look, I've got these scissors. I handed them to him. I said, going to a cross-stitching retreat. I might have even said something like a needlework convention. I was like, what's going to make more sense to the people who don't know about our secret world, the non-crafters out there. I shouldn't have presumed that about the security person. Maybe they are an avid stitcher, who knows. Something tells me they weren't an avid stitcher though, because they weren't very kind about the fact that I brought scissors. They were quite affronted that I would even try to, and then started explaining in great detail why I was silly to even think about bringing them. And I said, look, no, it's fine. Don't need to have a discussion about it. It's your call. It's okay. And I just kept going because I didn't want to have this big chat about it. It was their call. And I don't like confrontation very much. And I felt, very brave to even be trying to have the discussion to begin with. So I'm scissorless for a cross-stitch retreat. Not ideal. We'll see what solutions I come up with today. I'd be feeling better about it if I knew the people, I know of a lot of the people who are going to be there today, but I've not met them in person before. I'm sure someone will have a spare set of scissors to go around. I'm also going to go shopping at A Stitch in Time Hobart after the retreat is done for today. Kerrilyn's going to open the shop. So that'll be the definite end of my scissorless pain. So it wouldn't be ideal to have to not have scissors for the whole first day, aka half of the retreat, but that's the worst case scenario. So I'm going to stop feeling nervous about that. It sounds silly, but I feel nervous about asking someone if I can borrow their scissors or if they have a spare. I did have a look at whether there's any supermarkets or anything nearby here. To be honest, I'm just feeling like I'm going to need to use all my energy to actually, get through the anticipation I'm feeling and just get to the community hall in Battery Point today. So, yeah, I'm gonna wing it. I'm gonna see what the universe provides. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be in a room of very kind people who are going to be also outraged about my scissorless state and the security guard who rendered me thus. And I'm sure something will work out. So anyway, I just wanted to check in. I had quite a good sleep. I woke up at about 6 a.m. and I was sure that I'd missed my Uber. I haven't. Uber's at 9:50. It's going to be fine. So I'm just going to sit and sip some coffee and have a shower, choose something very warm to wear. It was not easy to travel light for this trip because it's cold in Hobart, and Kerrilyn, who's organised the retreat, did mention she will be turning on the heaters in the community hall an hour early, but I don't imagine it's going to be a well-insulated, warm building, so it was not easy to pack light, but I've got lots of layers to wear. It was fun watching on Instagram, some of the people who are coming along and their journeys. Me being removed of my scissors was the least of the dramas going on. Saw that poor Lisa loves stitching on YouTube. If you don't follow her, do follow her, and on Instagram as well. There were staff shortages, and I think maybe 2 of the flights, so the flight she had and then the flight that she booked to replace that flight, were cancelled. I didn't bring my tripod because trying to travel light, and so hopefully this video isn't too irritating for you. If I do another few clips, I might see what I can stack my phone up against. So apologies. But yeah, so she eventually got here, but had to book multiple replacement flights. And some people apparently were delayed until today, so a whole day. And then there were some just great Instagram posts to see. Joanna, who's from MojoStitches, who is the visiting designer at this retreat, which is, you know, other than the fact that I love Kerrilyn's shop, not that I've been there in person, but I love supporting it online, and I was very curious to come and visit it. The fact that Joanna was the visiting designer just made me really want to come to this retreat. And so she posted how excited she is, and I think she visited the shop Stitch in Time Hobart yesterday, and the model for Bushland Quaker, which is one of the stitches that I brought with me for the retreat, is now in the shop. So I'm looking forward to seeing that model today when I visit the shop. So yeah, it's all very exciting. It's all happening. I am riddled with nerves, not because the cross stitch community is an intimidating community to be part of, but just because I don't usually put myself out there like this. But I figure, you know, we have this huge thing in common. So if there's nothing else to talk about, we could talk about cross stitch from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. for 2 days. That's what I'm telling myself. Also, you know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So yeah, I'm going to be brave, go along, have what I'm sure will be an amazing time. And yeah, I'll keep you posted. This is the stunning sampler released by Joanna of MojoStitches for the retreat. It is called Tasmania After the Fires. Now, in a little while, I will show you in my haul section that I have this sampler, and I will say a whole lot of incorrect information about this being exclusive to retreat attendees. That is in fact not true. It is exclusive to A Stitch in Time Hobart. And so you can get this through A Stitch in Time Hobart right now. And you'll also see a series of smalls that you could also make from the sampler that Joanna was generous enough to show us and inspire us with at the retreat. So go along now and purchase a copy for yourself. It is just stunning. Thanks so much to Lisa Loves Stitching for this footage of the beautiful shop, which I neglected to take myself. Please go check Lisa out on FlossTube and Instagram. Her details are linked below. Thanks, Lisa. This is the absolutely stunning model for Bushland Quaker by MojoStitches that was displayed at Stitch in Time Hobart. Hello Floss fans. This is now the exhausted from day one of cross-stitching retreat version of me. So you're getting me in lots of different modes, this little video I'm compiling. And I should say I've watched back the footage from my little snippet this morning, and it seems that my hands were shaking the whole time, probably because it's a little bit chilly here in Hobart. So I've now tried to rig up a little bit of a better setup. As I said, I didn't bring my tripod because I was trying to travel light, so I've got a variety of, you're stacked now on top of a suitcase and a backpack, but at least I won't be shaking. So I'm back in my Airbnb after day one of the retreat, and I just, before I speak any more, want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in Hobart, the Nipaluna people, and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. And I should have done that earlier in the video, but making amends now. I've just had the most amazing day. I've needed a couple of hours to just lie on my bed and do nothing, and to calibrate and to, yeah, think about the wonderful time that I've had and let it all sink in. But yeah, from nerves to just having had one of the most wonderful experiences today, yeah, it was just magical. So I'll give a little bit of a rundown. Arrived at the hall this morning. Everyone was standing out the front waiting to go in, and that was a bit confronting because I sort of thought we'd all sort of walk in individually, but we were all sort of standing out the front in a crowd, and so I introduced myself to a few people. And then pretty much straight away, Lisa loves stitching. If you don't follow her on Instagram or FlossTube, please do. She is an absolute delight. She introduced herself to me in person pretty much immediately, and then we sat together for most of the day, which was just so fun and amazing. And I think I spent quite a lot of time talking about my anxiety about the fact that I didn't have scissors due to my airport shenanigans. And yeah, within about 2 minutes of being there, Lisa had lent me a spare pair, and I was settled in, and that, you know, anxiety had been removed because of her generosity. So that was great. And then Kerrilyn, who owns a Stitch in Time Hobart, introduced or welcomed us all. She did an acknowledgement of country, which was fantastic, really set the tone for the retreat, that this was a inclusive and yeah, an inclusive space. And I found throughout the day that some people that follow my FlossTube channel came and introduced themselves, which was absolutely lovely to meet you in person. And some other FlossTubers and some non-FlossTubers, and I met a lovely lady from Geelong called Jan, and yeah, I met a whole lot of people, and some people we ended up chatting about their experience of being neurodiverse, and yeah, it was really the first time I've ever really walked into a room and people who already knew me as the full version of myself without me having to introduce myself because of my floss, you know, they've watched my FlossTube channel and were able to talk about and be on the same page about neurodiversity and then share experiences. So I don't think I'd really expected that. And it just made me feel really seen and really safe, and really a great sense of immediate rapport and companionship with those that decided to share their experiences with me today. So I don't really know how to put more of it into words, but to those women who shared with me today their experiences of neurodiversity, it meant more to me than you could know. And yeah, thank you. And I was nervous about, you know, were we going to be able to find enough things to chat about all day? Well, the day just flew by and there was not a break in the chatting. I think I've mentioned before that Joanna from MojoStitches was the visiting designer. She presented a fabulous exclusive design to us to the retreat. I'm hopeful that she will release it to everyone. Usually these things do eventually get released more broadly because it's amazing. I'll show you it in a moment. And Joanna came around and visited every table at the retreat and yeah, talked through the design with us and shared her. I asked her some questions about her designing, and she was just so generous with yeah, just what she shared, and she's just fabulous. I'm so glad to have met her in person. And the lovely local stitchers from
Tasmania, they brought extra extension leads for anyone who brought lights. Kerrilyn's son, who's a cook, cooked us some lovely chicken soup for lunch, which was the perfect thing on a cold, wintry Hobart day. There was scones and jam and cream. There was a brag table where people brought things that they stitched that they wanted to show everyone, and that was just stunning. And yeah, it was just so inspiring even just to walk around the room and see what people were working on. Everyone was really encouraging. There were heaps of tips and tricks to exchange and share. And yeah, before we knew it, it was 3 o'clock, and then Kerrilyn opened the shop at Stitch in Time Hobart, and I don't know how many times I've said that, this floss tube, so, but it's worth saying 100 million times because it's a great place. I encourage you to go, and the online shop's fantastic. And so we went to the shop. I was really overwhelmed because it is packed cheek by jowl with treasures and patterns and floss and charts, and so I decided, because I am quite a regular online customer there, and yeah, it's great to save on some shipping, but I wanted to be really conscious about my purchases, so I bought some charts that I'd been thinking about for quite a while, and I know that, you know, I've seen a lot of things today that I'll think about some more and then probably pick up later. I was keen to treat myself to some Kohana scissors, which I know would be quite a treat to myself, but given my aeroplane shenanigans, I think I will purchase them online at a later date. But anyway, I just thought I'd show you the progress I made. I actually did do some stitching today, and I think it was only really because of some good planning on my part, to bring something that was really easy to stitch on, that I didn't need to look at a pattern or count. So I'll show you that in a moment. I'll show you some things that I purchased, and I'll show you the kit from Joanna. We actually did too get a goodie bag, so, and that's not here, so I'll just go and grab that, and then I'll take you through it. Okay, so also, if the lighting's not great and what have you, bear with me because, you know, Airbnb lighting, and, you know, I don't have my usual backdrops and my tripod, but at least this snippet isn't shaking. If you've made it to this part of the video, I do apologise if I made you feel seasick or something from my shaky hands. First of all, this roll that I got from Spotlight, which I do intend to make myself one as well, but as Lisa from Lisa Loves Stitching today pointed out, I've now got a prototype, so that's good. This has been really useful. And today I spent time on the Primavera pattern by Satsuma Street, and it may not look to you like I did much, but I started, I'll see if I can get in a bit closer. I started the day with just the single box outlined, and then I'm going back through and adding that second row in. So I did some of that. I don't know if you can see that properly, but it's not great lighting in here, but you know, it was a great retreat thing to do, because I'd already sort of counted out that external box before I went, and so I knew that all I have to do is fill it in. And I'm so tired that I don't know whether I'm going to stitch tonight. I'm sort of tempted to stitch on this because it's mindless, but I know that it'll be very useful to be able to stitch on tomorrow. So I might leave it. I've probably done enough stitching for today. Is there such a thing? So yes. So onto the goodie bag. Now, it's very appropriately branded. It's got a Tasmanian devil on the front. And one of my children, when I told them where I was going this weekend, they were quite distraught because they thought that I was leaving the country. I had to then explain that Tasmania is part of Australia. And then they said, well, but you're going to get eaten by a Tassie devil. And so I think, and I assured them I wouldn't, but I think it's cute. I think I might give them this tote bag because I think it'd be a funny little thing. To say I didn't get eaten by one, but I brought you one back. So inside the goodie bag, there is some honey and olive moisture cream from Beauty and the Bees Tasmania. So here's the, hopefully you can see that. And I bet you it smells amazing. I'm not going to quite open it yet. I don't know why. And there was a gift card from Kerrilyn at Stitch in Time Hobart, so I didn't put it to use tonight because my bag was all shoved in, but I thought, you know, I shop on there online enough, I'll be able to put that to use. There's a Stitch in Time Hobart branded thread keep, which will be very useful. I'm going to put that to use very soon. And there was a business card for this local Tasmanian artist, which would be good to check them out. A pen, very handy. I realised I didn't bring one with me. I realised that you know, there's a few things I need to do to refine my retreat, what to bring. I was very inspired by Lisa, who, you know, she had a light, she had a hoop, she had a hoop stand, she had a spare set of scissors for me, needle, like, yeah, she had it down to a fine art, and yeah, so next time a pen will be in my list of things because people were writing down each other's names and what have you. It was great. This lovely thread keep, or a floss drop keep. Anyway, it's a key ring, but you know what we use them for. Ring bling. As Nikki Noodle says, don't Google that. And oh yeah, Nikki Noodles was there today, which I'm a bit embarrassed to admit because I'm not sure if you're going to watch this, Nikki, but I had a bit of a fangirl moment where I was a bit overwhelmed when she was just sitting there, and she's so lovely and warm and such a lovely presence and such an enthusiastic person that I just, I think I might have frozen a little bit, but she's so lovely. She came around, she had a chat. She's just the warmest, most generous soul. So I'm so glad to have met Nikki in person, and yeah, she's just so lovely. There was a corner gauge, which is just fantastic. I've been wanting one of these for a while. Because I used to always start in the middle of designs, and recently I've started starting in the upper left corner, and I've not been that great in measuring it out correctly. You might have seen maybe I haven't shown it recently, but the Emily Peacock kit that I got from DMC with using the kitted fabric. It is going to fit, but my margin on the right hand side is a bit slim because I didn't count out my margin very well where I started. So this is going to be put to immediate use and be very handy. I'm very happy to have one. And I'm just fossicking around in the goodie bag. I think this might be the last thing. Oh no, two things. Scissor fob, very handy. And then a lovely tiny little needle minder. I'll get it out. So this little needle minder is attached to a business card for Fancy Fabric with a discount code, which I'll be very much looking forward to using, from Fancy Fabric. So that's Melissa, who is one half of the Tassie Stitches. If you watch them on YouTube, FlossTube, I encourage you to. Their camaraderie and their friendship is just a beautiful thing to behold. And the other half, of course, is Kerrilyn, who owns Stitch in Time Hobart. And Melissa dyed the fabric, I believe, for the kit that went with Joanna from MojoStitches retreat sampler. You can tell that I might be losing a few of my words, sorry guys. But anyway, so this is her business, Fancy Fabric. I'll turn it around so you can see her details. I'll show you the fabric that she provided for the kits soon. I believe I've got those details correct, but yeah, if you like what you see, go check her out. And here's the beautiful little, I don't know if that's focusing very well, apologies. Tassie Devil needle minder, how cute. Yeah, so that was the very fun goodie bag with things that will be, yeah, as I said, put to immediate use. So I'll show you, I think, the kit that we got first, and then I'll show you my purchases from the shop. So in this little bag, we had to pre-submit our fabric choice and whether we wanted full skeins of the floss or just a thread pack for the floss that we would need. And I went with just the floss that we would need because I've had Joanna's at MojoStitches thread packs for some of her other designs. I'm currently stitching her Bushland Quaker. I actually have that with me, or no, actually I showed it to you earlier in the video because it's something that I brought along with me in my fabric roll. Didn't make any progress on it today, but and I was a bit shy. It was funny because Lisa said, oh, you should show it to Joanna. I was like, no. Anyway, so in the end, she gave me a little nudge when Joanna came around, and Joanna looked at it and she was so generous about it. She thought it was great and gave me some lovely encouragement. And yeah, so I might take this out of the plastic so that you can see it better. So if you're wearing earphones or this noise offends you, please skip forward a few seconds. So as I said, this is an exclusive design to the retreat, but these things do tend to get released after a certain amount of time. I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see in this light, but it's called Tasmania After the Fires. Now, Joanna explained that she wanted to team with the festival that's going on at the moment called Dark Mofo, and the theme for the festival this year is resurrection. And so this was her interpretation of that. Sort of resurrection after devastation and bushfire. And it's great because I'm not sure if you can really see very well, but she takes traditional elements, and this is a band sampler, but it's, you know, distinctively Australian and with her own twist. So I just think it's brilliant. I can see on the footage now that it's quite dark, so I might take a photo and insert it so you can get a better look. But I will see if there's a description. Yeah, so I'll read it out to you. This design celebrates the regrowth of native endangered animals and plants in Tasmania after recent bushfires. After the landscape has burned through, life can actually flourish. I hope you enjoy stitching this rebirth and that this time brings you some well-earned flourishing too. And then if you check out Joanna at MojoStitches blog, which I'll link below, for this and her other designs, she gives links and photos of the specific species of plants and animals that she includes, which is just great to have, you know, things that are charted so accurately, so specific to Australia, but also to have that information about which species they are. But I know when I was speaking to Joanna today, there's some native orchids to Tasmania in this design, and that they germinate. They need smoke and bushfire as part of their germination process. There's of course some Tasmanian devils, and then there's these things called turbo chooks that they're new to me. I didn't know about them till today. But the Tassie devil, I think, might prey on them. There's some, they're not yabbies, but some crayfish. And how Joanna has made them elegant. She's a whiz. And there's some native mice. So yeah, there's just, have a look at the photo that I insert. And so I'm really excited that this will be quite compatible, or a companion piece to the Bushland Quaker and then the Bushland Birds, which are two designs of Joanna's. I've got both of those, one of them started, and I'm now looking forward to displaying all three together. And I'm hopeful. She did sort of mention that, you know, I said, oh, have you got any interesting designs in the works? And she said, yep, she has quite a few, some coming up for the Online Needlework Expo. She didn't give any hints as to what they would be, but I think what I'm seeing in her designs is a very distinctive style, and so I'm looking forward to collecting whatever she next releases and knowing that they have a very cohesive look that's distinctively her. So these, Joanna really likes using and promoting Cottage Garden Threads, which is an Australian hand-dyed threads. It's a mother and daughter team in, I think they might be in regional Victoria, but yeah, definitely Australia. And I got the, some people bought the full skeins. I bought the thread pack with just the amount that I was going to need. So I won't take that out of the plastic just yet. But it's, yeah, beautiful rich tones. I was going to say muted, but they're not really muted, they're rich. I don't know why both words came to mind. I think it's a neutral palette, but a rich palette. And then this was the fabric I chose, which it isn't labelled. Actually, I'm now starting to remember that there were 2 fabric options, one of which was hand dyed by Melissa and the other one was a Zweigart base. So I think I ended up choosing the plain Zweigart base before seeing Melissa's fabric, but then sitting next to Lisa and others that chose Melissa's fabric today, I think that that was definitely the one to go for. So yeah, do check her out. Yeah, her fabric is just gorgeous. But anyway, it looks like I went for the neutral Zweigart base. It was a while ago that I put in my preferences. But I'm looking forward to seeing how the cottage garden threads really pop off that. Now it is linen that I've got here. My foray into linen recently has not been that successful in that I've done a little bit and then stopped. I think it's because I think I've mentioned before my lighting situation. I generally stitch at night when my kids are in bed. My lighting situation is not great and I've got to sort that out because I'm accumulating some nice linens that I want to put to good use and haven't quite yet done that yet. So anyway, this will be another great piece to use. So that was the exclusive kit. And do have a look at MojoStitches blog and her Etsy shop because I think that there are going to be some designs that are adjacent to this one or, you know, related that she will be releasing generally as well. So yeah, I had a bit of a sneak peek at those today and yeah, have a look out on Joanna's website, MojoStitches on Etsy if you're interested. Okay, so then I went to the shop and yeah, I was overwhelmed. I knew, look, I know myself well enough now to know that I do tend to get overwhelmed. So I just told myself, look, you know, I can visit this virtually again. You know, it's okay to just scope out what's here. Practically everything's there. So any type of floss, you know, there was also tapestry and needlepoint and crewel and, you know, other things that I'm interested in trying. And so I'll just know whatever type of floss I need, they're going to have it. Great fabric selection. Of course, the patterns, there were just tubs and tubs of patterns to sort of fossick through. Yeah, so I just got a few things that I've been thinking about for a long time. And then, you know, I've put a few things on my wish list that I might collect over the next little while. So yeah, but one thing that was essential that I get is a remedy to my scissors on the airplane situation. So I bought a clover thread cutter pendant, which I should be able to get on the plane no issue. I haven't road tested it yet, but I'm just going to hang it from, I don't have a chain with me, but I'm just going to hang it on a length of DMC around my neck. And it'll be handy for the rest of the retreat too. So it's the Clover brand. This is the antique gold colour. And yeah, I haven't road tested it. I've heard they could go blunt over time, but obviously, you know, it's not going to be something that I use every day. It's probably going to be something that I use on aeroplanes if I keep travelling and stitching, which, you know, I haven't been on a flight in a long time. Who knows how long it'll be now, but yeah, it's just a handy thing to have, and I was relieved to call an end to my scissor woes of this weekend. And then I got some charts. So, first of all, I got Brenda Gervais' Red Bird Sampler, which the reason I have not got this sooner is because sometimes I can't tell whether I'm in love with something because it's popular and everyone's stitching it, or whether I actually love it. But I've come to the conclusion that I actually legitimately love it and I would stitch it if no one else was, because it is something of just unspeakable beauty. And you will notice that it has got those beautiful pale blue and that sort of retro red hues. And for anyone that's following the rest of my videos and my my English paper piecing hexagon journey, I'm the hashtag Liberty Puddles Sell. The design I'm doing with that has solid colours mixed in with the Liberty fabrics. the two solid shades I've chosen for my version of that quilt is pale blue and that pillar box red colour, and so I'm just in love with that colour combination, and this pattern does it all for me. So yeah, it might be a nice thing to, you know, if I ever finish that quilt and I ever finish this, to put them in a similar part of the house. So yeah, excited about that. Then this was another one. I was like, do I want it because everyone else has it, or do I want it because I want it? So this is one that you'll have seen time and time again on everyone else's floss tubes. But I was speaking to Kerrilyn about this at the shop and explaining my conundrum about do I want it, and she's like, yeah, you do. And it's because I legitimately want to stitch every design in here. So yes, it is the well-known Sewing Club book from Blackbird Designs. And Kerrilyn was saying she orders them in and then they fly out the door, no matter how many times she reorders. But the piece that I want to stitch first, I saw Amanda May of Ardith Design stitching recently, and she's made some changes to it to put it with some other Blackbird designs, and she's sort of just stitching Blackbird designs all on one piece, but you know how some of the Blackbirds are designed to do that? Well, but she's just putting whichever ones in together and sort of altering the borders to make them fit, and it's just looking divine. So I'll just find the bit that the one that I'm wanting to do first, if I can. It's the hollyhocks. For any of you who know it well, I think I've gone past it. Yeah, I'll find it. It's on the front cover. Here you go. I'll just show you the very tiny version of it in this poor light, but it's this design here, the hollyhocks. I just love it, with the bird and the big blousy flowers. So apologies for the bad lighting, but yeah, so I got that one. And then the last one, I'm not sure, Catherine, if you're just going to get sick of me being a mini-me for you, but you just have such great taste, and you mentioned when you bought this what attracted you was the turquoise border, and I tend to agree. So I bought Sarah Barker 1840. The lighting in here is not doing this border justice, but it's a beautiful turquoise border. And I'm not really usually one to stitch alphabets. This might be the first time that I do that. Or I just think that this border would really lend itself to the border of a tablecloth or the hem of a skirt. Like, I just wanted this pattern and this, you know, and the details of this colour palette in my collection to be inspired by and see where I can put it to use. Although the more I look at it, the more I want to just stitch it as is. So they were my purchases at A Stitch in Time Hobart today. As I said, could have walked away with the whole shop if I had unlimited money and suitcase space, but thankfully there are some limits on these things, and you know, I've come away with a very long wish list that I might collect a few things over time, as I tend to do. So thanks for joining me for this little clip. Tomorrow is the second day. I think it will be more of the same, some more chatting, some more stitching, and then I'm flying back home tomorrow night. And I'll see if I take any more snippets, but just in case I don't, thanks for sharing this little video with me and bearing with the various technical differences to my usual videos. If you haven't been on a retreat before, I highly encourage you to do it. I'm a really introverted person. I get really anxious about meeting new people, but it was a safe, supportive, inclusive, warm environment. I've made some, you know, lasting new fabulous friends. So yeah, keep your eye out and highly encourage you to go to a retreat. I'll certainly be looking out at what I can go to next. I forgot one wonderful other thing about the retreat I'd not told you about yet. Some very generous people brought gifts and floss drops to trade, and I wanted to let you know about those people. I will put in the description box below some Instagram handles, floss tube links and shop links to some wonderful people I've met this weekend and are mentioned in this video. I just wanted to mention these generous ladies who gave me floss drops. So we have Vintage Lily Makes with this fabulous anatomical stitch that I think I need to make one for myself. How gorgeous. And then here is Lisa at Lisa Loves Stitching. Her design, she does some fabulous designs, so I will put these below as well, but have a look. Hopefully that's in focus, but yeah, do look below. And then this is Andrea Caffrey's beautiful jackalope floss drops. Thanks so much, Andrea. How gorgeous. And then this really special one. So just making sure I don't read out the name wrong. But this is Stitching Squirrel on Instagram. And she was generous enough to hand dye us some silk in this beautiful, beautiful teal colour. It's sort of blending in with the curtains over here. It's probably not as deep as the teal of the curtains, and the lighting here's doing some funny things, but it's just a gorgeous colour, and it just feels so soft. So it's 12 ply silk, and it's 5 meters of it. She gave some to each of us, which is so generous, and she's labelled it a Stitch in Time Retreat June 2022. And before I knew it, it was time to go home, but it was such a wonderful time. So the takeaway from this is, if you get an opportunity to go to a retreat, grab it with both hands. You won't regret it. Here's me doing some EPP at the airport to finish off a wonderful weekend. I'll record a regular floss tube update soon, but until then, let's all take each day one stitch at a time. See you later, floss fans.